it's Charlotte, and I am out here this afternoon with Oscar. Oscar is a reiner and a cow horse, and he is here to work on a little bit of relaxation. So we've got Oscar and his friend Moonshine both here, and we just did some work with Moonshine. And yesterday when we worked on Moonshine, we left him in here when we were working with Oscar, because Oscar was having a bit of a meltdown being away from his friend. Now, is that ideal? Ideally, we're going to work on getting Oscar where he doesn't have a meltdown without his friend. But Moonshine could also use a little bit of the extra time in here. And today it kind of looks like Moonshine is going to help us mirror some more peace. Moonshine has gotten behind Oscar and is going to send some peace into Oscar. So that maybe works out pretty well. When we do these exercises, the exercises are kind of like a skeleton. They're kind of like ingredients. You need to read the horse you have in the moment and use your intuition to address them and use the exercise the way you feel like your horse needs in the moment. So we're trying this with Moonshine in here. I thought he could use a little extra time. I didn't realize Moonshine would actually be helping Oscar learn how to really let go. So Oscar is holding a ton of emotional stuff in his body. His body yesterday came out really tight and swollen up, like Blueberry Girl and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They get swollen with cortisol, and it's a certain look. You can't tell where the shoulder and the neck come together. You can't tell where the neck and the body come together. The thing that I'm liking when I'm looking at Oscar today, I feel like Oscar doesn't look nearly so swollen. Another thing that I noticed is I met Oscar when he was a late yearling, before he was started as a 2-year-old. And Oscar already had these enormous big shoulders. He was like a bodybuilder from the youngest age. And just then, looking at him, Oscar's shoulders were more relaxed and flat, which I just think is amazing. Horses will hold a ton of tension and their leadership in their shoulders. Shoulders and front feet absolutely go with the left side of the brain. They go with the horse wanting to lead, be the leader, the horse wanting to drive. They go with the horse not relaxing. So when we can inspire these shoulders and front legs to release and get softer, holy moly, that horse can really relax. It also will let us drive, let us lead. Yesterday, I don't think Oscar ever really relaxed enough to make circles in Playground of Safety. We didn't video his Playground of Safety yesterday, but today I'm loving this. And as he goes around, I'm starting to see the muscles on the top of his body, starting to see him flutter and starting to see him fire. That's a very hard thing to get on the video, so I don't know if Tommy's going to be able to get it, but especially the top of his butt. I'm seeing a little movement up there at the top of his butt. I love that, because when he came out yesterday, he was one rock hard bodybuilder of a horse. Beautiful. I'm loving this today. Look at that, lip wiggling in the dirt. He is mentally laying down. We're gonna get a lay down out of him too. This is amazing. The second day on these two horses that were carrying so much tension that they both were able to find the ground on the second day, that's just incredible. Really, really incredible. It tells me that these horses want to feel better. They're not wanting to hold emotional stuff. And this is sort of interesting. Moonshine left. I felt like when we first started, Moonshine was awesome. Moonshine was kind of holding space for Oscar. Now Moonshine's gone off and Oscar is being able to find blowing out. That's awesome. I know people aren't going to watch all these videos in order, but we were just talking about upper and lower muscle chain with Moonshine when I was doing his mouth releases. And Gerd Hirschman is a German dressage trainer and vet. And Gerd is the one that says a horse has an upper muscle chain and a lower muscle chain. He also says that energy and emotion clear out of the horse from the back to the front. And he says that a horse that's braced in both the upper and the lower muscle chain, that wants to feel better, will often cough to loosen those muscle chains. I used to always say when horses blew out, just like Oscar was blowing out a moment ago, that the horses are blowing out their bad ideas because all the horses act better after they blow out. But Gerd is much more eloquent, like that's blowing out. Gerd is much more eloquent. He says that the horse is giving you flowers, that you have done something to inspire the horse to relax both the upper and lower muscle chain to a greater degree. Does it mean they're perfectly relaxed? No, but you did something that has inspired them to relax. And so when we hear the horses blowing out, that is a huge release. That's a huge win. That's a horse really leaning into that parasympathetic nervous system. This lateral flexion is helping him stretch this whole left side. He actually doesn't look nearly so much like he's leaving the ring with his face. I think that he's more stretching. Really nice. There he stepped on the rope. He didn't panic. Nice. Look how he's going inside himself to sort of process that. I would have thought that he would have licked his lips there. This one's a little slow to lick his lips. So that kind of shows you how he internalizes things. We're doing some more lateral stretch to stretch that left side. This is beautiful. And I am starting to be able to see the neck, the shoulders. We're seeing parts of his body separate. We're also seeing his hair looking so much better. Yesterday, his hair looked like a mess. And I realize it's sunny today and it was overcast yesterday. Here we go. We're getting a little garbage coming out. But really, as we get this fascia to release and the cortisol to roll out of the horse, again, the hair in the coat is going to change. I have not brushed him. His mom might be annoyed that I'm not grooming him head to toe, but I really like using their coat at this stage of the game to give me hints about what's happening. If I'm grooming them and making them look perfect before they come out here, I don't get to see the changes as well. So this horse is super high connection. He is an oxytocin addict and a connection addict. And this, wow, his front legs and his shoulders are deflating so much. Honey, if there's any way you can get in front of him to show how close together these front feet are, especially compared to the hind feet, this horse has a tendency to stand really wide in front, really narrow behind. I do agree that that right front foot is still pointing to the east, but he has a really hollow spot behind that right shoulder. I'm hoping that that foot is going to get a little straighter as we get things stood up better. Now we're stretching the left side. Beautiful job, buddy. Beautiful job. This is so much better and so much more peaceful. So he's going to offer to connect to me again, and I'm going to swish. You'll see that I swish just with some nice rhythm. I do not look at him, and he does not take offense to it. The swish is supposed to feel like a mare's tail at the water trough, saying, I'm drinking first, not a mare squealing, running backwards and kicking first. If I stare at him, if I look at him, and then flick my rope at him, the looking at him invites him to come to me. It invites connection. It gives him a hit of oxytocin. The being aggressive with the rope feels predatory. The predatory will put him back into survival. The looking at him and inviting him to me just gives him another hit of that crack oxytocin. I really want this horse to start learning about endorphins and relaxation. He needs to realize that his peace does not come from outside. Maybe sometimes he can hook to us and we can send him a little peace, but I want this to happen, what's happening on his face right now. I want this horse to learn how to go inside himself and start rolling endorphins. I want him to realize everything he needs to feel good, he can find on the inside of him. Horses like him, oxytocin addicts, high connection horses, they are dependent upon whatever is on the outside. Whoever is the least emotionally balanced, they're going to hook to, because they are going to try to find something to hook to, and then they're going to amplify it to stay safe. I want him to trust that if he is here with me, he's going to be safe, and he can relax and let me drive. This is great. So he's moving again. This is awesome. When they go from stillness to moving, that is called cycling. We want to see that. Now I'm noticing him kind of going through his back feet right there when he was walking, trying to release some things to get those back hind legs a little more symmetrical in their movement. That's awesome. But whatever speed they go from stillness to moving to stillness to moving, that's kind of how fast their brain processes. We would love it if when he cycled and moved that he shows us both sides. A horse will show us an out of balance right to left in playground of safety. If they only go one direction, we know that they're out of balance right to left, and we'll have to address that later. Here he goes doing some more stretch. He recognizes Moonshine just left that little mounting pen over there. He's moving again. Now the big thing I'm seeing right now that's really kind of cool, that I can't say I've ever seen with this horse, is his withers are higher than the highest point of his hip. This horse often has his withers a little lower than his hip. Like sometimes he looks like his butt is higher than the front of him when he is being ridden. So to see him really change today from being kind of butt high to now having our withers higher, that's a really awesome thing. I'm gonna come over here and swish and move Moonshine, because he's coming over to offer his assistance. And that's very kind of him, but I want him to know that I've got it. I don't need his assistance. And that was actually pretty good, because we just got a half a circle going the other direction. Now he's going his first direction again. And we're going to have to, we were talking up at the house about Oscar's unusual spur whirls, or spur swirls. And the sun just hit that spur whorl on this side, and it made me think of it. So, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am internationally published in my work on whirls or swirls and their effect on personality and performance. I am the international authority on that, and I have people from all over the world that send me swirl pictures. Well, I got a good shot of it there. Send me swirl pictures looking for assistance on how to help those horses mentally, emotionally, physically to do better. This horse has what are called spur whorls. And usually a spur whorl is one little swirl, kind of like the swirl on a horse's face, right here in their flank. This is an exceptionally large spur whorl. We've got quite a whorl here. And then this is lit up here. We've got this feather line, raised ridge back line between these two. Energy in the horse will be focused and slowed down by their whirls, by their swirls. This is a real thing. Swirls are created at the same time as the energy center, or as the learning parts of the brain. Swirls are also the only hair that is rooted all the way back to brain tissue. So these whirls are rooted all the way back to his brain. Those are called spur whorls because when the Bedouins, way long time ago, were riding horses into battle, they found that horses with these swirls right there needed spurs. They needed to go. They ended up with little bald spots right there because that will cause this horse to be a little stuck. Good boy, you're a good boy. And that energy gets stuck there. It doesn't flow really easy. The other piece that happens, since that's so low down in his body, those whirls, energy will tend to, and emotions, memories will pool in the stomach. And horses with these spur whorls will often have much bigger stomachs than horses that don't. I love that we can see his little six-pack abs there. We see this horizontal line in his stomach. That is him contracting what is called his transverse abdominis. That transverse abdominis is your main muscle of parasympathetic nervous system. So when you pull your belly button in like he's doing, that helps turn on parasympathetic nervous system in the entire horse. Your parasympathetic nervous system is your rest, digest, play, learn, heal, trust, connect side of your autonomic nervous system. It's the good one. We can also see right now he's getting vertical lines coming from this spot right on his wither where you can tell the tree of the saddle has kind of grabbed him there on the side of his wither. It's okay, buddy. We can start to see these vertical lines. I'm going to see if I can move his head. Move your head so we got light on it. Good job. Those lines show us that that part of his body has been really contracted. So we can see the vertical lines going all the way to the bottom, but look how these fascial lines are kind of going this way, these are going this way, but these big vertical lines start here where you can tell the tree of that saddle kind of grabs him. That right there shows us that the fascia in your body has its own intelligence. And when fascia feels safe, it will start to release. Fascia is what gives our body its shape. So this horse has been stuck a lot in what we would call sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is your flight, fight, freeze, survival, fear side of your autonomic nervous system. And that gives a horse a certain shape. A horse in sympathetic nervous system will often stand wider in front, narrow behind. We already talked about how this horse was changing shape. He's starting to stand more narrow in front and wider behind. Now I think this is pretty cool. I hope you can see this on the video. He's getting darker behind his front leg where the girth would go. Yesterday he was asking me to tap him right there. And I did tap him right there a little bit to help him release. But that dark color shows us that that fascia released. Also released some oil into the coat. He's got it some on this side too. And it's changing him to a darker color. So right now, all these vertical lines down the middle of his body are showing us that he's starting to poof up. He's starting to lift his back. Everything is starting to really lift up and be in a parasympathetic shape, in a much more athletic shape. So to finish our little education on spur whirls, I just know when I see a horse with those big spur whirls, those big whirls there at the flanks, a lot of the time they're going to be holding a bunch of energy and emotion in that area, and we're going to have to release it. Yesterday he had me tapping on that. I'm really tickled to see that all the tapping I did yesterday really helped him. So there, he's starting to walk behind again, trying to loosen that up. If we watch him, we're going to have to watch him without judgment, because I see him being a little uneven here as he's walking. As a horse switches out of survival, sympathetic nervous system, and into rest, digest, play, learn, heal, trust, connect, parasympathetic nervous system, they have to switch out of one set of muscles into another set of muscles. Your survival muscles are called your mobilizers. They are your mechanical muscles. They are gross motor skills, get me out of here fast, survival muscles. The parasympathetic nervous system muscles, your good muscles, are called your stabilizers. They are your dancer muscles, fine-tuned, detailed dancer muscles, your core muscles. When a horse has been in survival for a long time, like this one has, he's going to have all of his balance and movement organized in those mobilizer muscles, in his fear muscles, in his fight, flight, freeze muscles. As he's switching over, he's got to switch into his stabilizer muscles, his core muscles, his dancer muscles. When they do that, they can be very uneven the way they move. So that's why when a horse is in playground of safety, and we start seeing them doing strange things, we need to be taking in things. We need to have awareness without judgment. We cannot judge his soundness or lack of soundness doing this exercise. We just get to see, wow, he's really switching over. We can see he's starting to engage different muscles. Yay. Nice job. I love all those lines under our tree under where the tree of the saddle would be going. And I'm starting to see little flutters of electricity and energy up in that back. This is pretty incredible for this horse. How funny, he did such a short playground of safety yesterday. To me, he was really too frozen and swollen up with his cortisol to really let much go in playground of safety yesterday. I did a lot more tapping for him to get him started. Today, he's really going through and working on things himself. And he's going to end up doing a longer playground of safety today because we've got him started with his own healing. Blowing out again, yay! Licking his lips. Now he's starting to actually move his head and neck as he's moving. This is fantastic. His friend doesn't feel the need to be over here helping him. The friend is telling him, yay, he's blowing out. This horse has got it. He's doing better. And I'm not going to be critical of him looking to the outside of the circle. I'm going to be like, that's so interesting. Wonder if he turns his head out to help stretch this shoulder and rib cage and wither on this side. Maybe this is going to help him shift his hip to the inside when he's going to the right. Horses know what they need. Horses desire balance. There is no horse that wants to be crazy. There are horses that internalize a ton of garbage and they end up being sort of crazy. Oh, look at him cross his front feet. This horse is working on getting, when the horse crosses their front feet, it pulls their scapulas. The feet crossing pull the scapulas away from the body and allow the withers to stand up. This horse is doing a ton of work on his shoulders and withers. He's really practicing standing up in the wither. He's like, wow, this feels so good. He's going to be able to come into his own full power. Nice job. I'm going to swish a little bit because it's like he came close to me, offering to connect, but then he didn't really want to connect. Maybe he just needed me to say, move out a little bit again. I love it now too because look, he's getting where he can go both directions on the circle. And I really see those muscles in the top of his body starting to have electricity and bounce and shake. I was telling his mom on a text when I reported to her that when I was tapping on him and touching him, he had no rippling, no rippling in his body. His body was so poofed out and hard, I could tap and there was no ripple in it. I would dare say, now that we're seeing all that electricity and lightning in the top of him, things starting to move, we're going to have some ripple today if we tap on it. This is so much different. Honey, does he look different to you?
Yes.
Because I feel like his neck is so much more relaxed. Look at him cross his front legs. It's like, I am feeling good. Even as he walks, his shoulders are jiggling. They're so soft. That's what we want. So now Moonshine is coming back. I'm going to twirl at Moonshine to say, we don't need you. We don't need you. I appreciate you offering to help, but no thank you. There are horses, and I think both of these horses are this type. There are horses that have been put, it's like they've been put on earth. Their purpose is to help others. And usually those horses with that purpose. They're channels for people. People can clear their emotions and energy through those horses. Those horses will usually get really fat stomachs, and they may have really fat all over bodies. Eventually, the holding emotions and trauma for the people gets too much, and it can start to crush them. And there's a very distinct look to a horse that is being crushed by its trauma. This horse does not look like that. This horse, to me, is looking around. Do you need my help? Hey, you over there, do you need my help? He's trying to help everybody, but what he's not doing is he's not going inside and helping himself. So I also think that there are people that are channels for horses. Horse trainers, body workers, veterinarians, they tend to be people that horses can release their garbage and their trauma into. Wow, I can't believe the difference in how loose his skin and muscles are getting. This is awesome. So when a channel person meets a channel horse, the channel horse can have a little trouble at first letting go of its stuff. It's like, no, you don't understand, that's my job. And for channel horses like this, I mean, what an amazing, sweet, kind horse. For channel horses, they need somebody to hold space for them so that they can let stuff go. How many of us know that person that volunteers for everything, that helps everybody, but then they scream at people and have a meltdown every so often because life just gets too much for them? And then we're like, wow, she's crazy, or he's crazy. No, he's not. He's just full of everybody's stuff that they dump off at his door. So I want Oscar to learn how to, it's wonderful of you to offer to take other people's things. That's very nice. But we need you to start letting the stuff go. This stuff is not yours to hold. I don't know for sure why his mane has been roached. Being a reiner and a cow horse, you'd expect he would have a long, beautiful, flowing mane. I expect from tapping on him yesterday, because his neck, his neck was so hard and so blocked. I had a heck of a time with the neck yesterday. I would kind of think this horse probably has been rubbing on the fence, or rubbing on trees, or rubbing on something to get his neck to release, and rubbed his mane to have big holes in it until they just roached it to try to have it looking more uniform and smooth. Boy, he is looking so beautiful and so much less muscle bound and swollen. This is really awesome. Really great job. So I'm going to tell Moonshine again, we don't need you right now. Thank you for offering, but we don't need it. So, I'm waiting for this horse to tell me, I'm pretty good, Charlotte. And somebody may say, you quit after Moonshine laid down and rolled. Yeah, why didn't you quit after Oscar laid down and rolled? Because it didn't feel like Oscar's laying down and rolling was the end. Whoa, I hope you just got that. All of a sudden, we just had a giant fascia release in this horse's wither. So if you're watching this, back it up, watch that. It was a giant twitch went through that wither, and that fascia in that wither released. That is amazing. All right, I was feeling like we were getting close to being finished. I'm gonna give it another minute or so to see if we have any more of this big twitching in the wither. So why is twitching, where it looks like the horse has flies on them, why does that count as fascia release? Well, as I've said, fascia has its own intelligence. And fascia's job is to lock down and immobilize areas so that the horse doesn't get more hurt or doesn't get hurt. When the fascia is inspired to feel safe and relaxed, it will start to relax. When over 80% of your free nerve endings are in your fascia. When fascia releases around those nerve endings, your entrapped nerve endings, it's like the nerves are like little hoses that have been pinched off. When the fascia releases and the water, whatever this liquid that's inside nerves, goes and it reaches up to the edge of the skin, it causes twitching. That twitching is called, the name for the twitching is panniculus. You don't have to remember any of that, but you just need to know that panniculus or twitching is a fascial release. It's a positive thing. So when I see these horses relax to a certain degree, I'm gonna swish. When I see them relaxing and they start twitching, it is like, yes, this fascia feels safe enough to start to let go. And we're gonna get the whole area poofing up like it's gonna be really good. Oh, that's so exciting. So I'm trying to glance over at him without staring. As you all know, if you follow our program, we're not supposed to have our focus on the horse. Leaders are focused on looking out for danger and focusing on what's coming next, leader stuff. Followers stare at or focus on leaders to get their direction. When we focus on our followers, if I focus on the horse, all of a sudden, the horse is now leading, I am now following. And for some horses, that is such a huge big deal that I have to totally not look at them at all. I try to glance over there every now and then, so I see what's happening. I love it. His mane is actually wiggling as he walks. It's showing us how that fascia in the neck is loosening up. Yay! Now this is odd. Look at how the left hind, both hind feet have gone kind of to the inside and they're pushing the hocks out a little bit. So horses will, in playground of safety, do odd things to help bring balance back to their bodies. So when I see them doing some sort of odd posture, I'm like, that horse has been stretched in an odd way. He's trying to balance it back out. Wow, that shoulder is so much looser. Nice. I feel like he's gone over there so that his mother will be able to see something on the video. I'm not on that side, so I don't know what he's showing to his mother. But we're gonna just let his mother stare at this so she'll know what it is. And to me, he's saying, he's wanting his mom to see how he's stretching from front to back. I feel like that's what he's sending. Mom, look at me stretch. Look at how long I'm making myself in a soft way. I'm up in my wither, but I'm making myself really long. I have seen this horse really ball up and make itself pretty short front to back. And I feel like that was meant to show his mom, hey mom, I'm stretching lengthwise. I'm feeling so much softer. Good boy. All right, so I'm getting the impression now that this is the horse I'm supposed to be doing life up stuff with. So, that was interesting, wasn't it? I kind of feel life coming up in him. I'm going to wait for another lip lick. And then I think I am going to give him some movement-based stuff. Nice. Look, the hind feet aren't base narrow. The hind feet aren't close together. Like he fixed all that. Now horses will do this. So I'll do that jump rope right there. I don't get to demonstrate that jump rope thing very much. That was fun. And I feel like he's getting darker as we stand here. Even though the sun is out, and you would think that would make all his hair stand up, it feels to me like the hair is laying down more. And he's showing me I can change directions. He's stretching all his body out. As soon as you lick your lips, I'll give you some movement-based stuff too, buddy. This is so much better. Yesterday, Playground of Safety was very still. I love how much movement we've gotten today. Good boy. And isn't it interesting? We've been waiting on this lip licking here for a couple minutes. You would have expected a horse innately to kind of go through some licking their lips more frequently than this, just innately. So it kind of helps me see, wow, there's still quite a bit of tension in here. Now his right hind is actually toed out. He's going through all sorts of relaxing. All this back and forth, change of direction. Lick your lips, and then I'm going to do a movement-based thing. There's our lips. There were our lips. So we're going to switch. We're going to cut it off. We're going to come back and do something else.